I almost feel like, and you've probably been feeling similarly lately, there's just too much out there now. And especially in New Balance that wasn't overly saturated. Now it's just, I can't really get excited about anything. And I haven't even tried. Like the other day, what was it? The W, what is that? The W taps, whatever that's called.
Oh yeah,
I didn't even try. Like
double
it's,
tap. Yeah.
that's a very like blah. Like I could, it's just a gray shoe. Like that's not even their colorway. Like, so I'm confused to what some of these are being allowed to do. And like, what are they asking them to do? Obviously, I don't know how that whole verbiage goes, but what they say, make a shoe that you could recreate on NV1, like, or make a shoe that could go, if your name wasn't on it, directly to the outlet stores.
See, and for me, I guess this kind of like just flows into the whole topic, and I think it's just you and me tonight because I think Rico backed out. But essentially, like for me, a a cool creative colorway is okay, but like you said, there's so much out there that's not enough anymore, right? Like, and so, I was thinking about someone the other day was, I know you're not a big 2002 R guy, but someone said that the refined future pack was like sneaker of the year. And a few people have said it, right? And I think it's a cool shoe. Like, I got lucky and got a pair, but like this is better than a lot of GRs that New Balance has dropped. Like, and like, think what you will, say what you will, like the concept, the idea, how it came about, and the execution are better than a lot of the collaborations that we saw or that we're gonna see, right? Like the Jowns, the double taps, all of their follow-ups are so meh. Like, okay, like I got it. Like you didn't do really anything. You didn't give me some kind of cool story. At least like Salehi, when he does his stuff, you get like a better sense of it because there's cool packaging. He has like sort of this thematic flow that he's going through. And then even the same thing with kind of with Joe Fresh Goods, I'm not completely sold, but like the whole outside clothes and all of that, like that's cool. Like the special box that they made, the whole theme of being outside in the summer and just that sort of experience from your childhood, like it's all something, right? But then when you get like a Jound or a Double Taps, or you think about the other brands, you think about like Nike and Jordan, like all of their collaborations are just names slapped on a colorway. And for me, it's unappealing. It's uninspiring. I could care less, right? Like I need to have someone explain to me how you sat in a room and came up with the Travis Scott colorway for the Fragment Jordan ones. Like why is that compelling to me? It can't just be compelling to me because it's Travis Scott and it's Jordan and it's Fragment. It needs something else. Like there needs to be some cohesive reason why these three elements are in the same room and why it makes sense to do this color and why it's cool and why it's better than any other Jordan one that just came out, right? And so it seems like some of the GR products that we're getting are just doing that better. They're just doing that better.
I think it goes, Dave, it goes back to, so I've talked before about like a hiatus for me, right? Being a college student and being broke. And I remember getting back into sneakers, and really the first one that the first silhouette that I was interested in was the SV, right? The Dunks, because of the storytelling, not because of the quality, but I like the collabs initially because they're telling a story of a certain neighborhood in a certain city, or a certain food, or a certain culture that I don't know, or I have limited knowledge about. And I almost feel like these bigger or more popular, like hyped brands, you know, excluding like Concepts, it seems like Concepts, between Dion and his team, like they seem to hit home runs like every time they step up to the plate. Like, as much as I hate, what is that 327, that colorway is beautiful. Like, and I wish that was on a 997 or a 998 or
27 or the 5740.
That's another one. I hate that shoe, but that colorway is beautiful. Like, put that on a 998. That would be so beautiful. Like, and so I feel like when you first hit me up about this concept, I got back in because of collabs. I'll be 1,000,000% honest, but not in the sense of I knew who the collaborator was. Like, even what's the hospital that does the Jordans mostly?
Oh, the Dornbeckers.
That's a collab. That's a collaboration between a 14-year-old with cancer and Nike. I love it because it's their idea about it. Like, I was talking to one of my associates who's also a sneakerhead about this concept. I have an idea of a colorway. I'm not going to say what it is because then it'll get stolen, but I have an idea of a colorway if I ever got the opportunity. And people that know me, like, I'll tell you offline what it is, but I have it, and it'd be brilliant and it would look good. But really, that story is how these colors go together and how these colors make sense. And even if you like some of the concepts, it's not as obvious. Like, when you're looking at it, you're like, okay, I can see the Statue of Liberty 997, right? Like, you're like, okay, that's made out of copper. It kind of has that color. I can understand that. But then if you remember in that pack, there's that Boston one that you don't like, if you don't know, and it would take a minute, like that red, like clayish color, like you don't know what it's talking about until you do a little bit more, digging. And I like that. Or the what is it, the 997 S's, the Babe Ruth ones. Yeah. Like, that color you wouldn't know unless you knew that was the Babe Ruth got sold for display. Like, that's cool to me. Yeah. And I think when you start allowing these lazy ass collabs to happen, like it's almost like they knew the wave. And we've talked about the distribution issues. So they knew that the wave was starting, and they're just like, oh, you're popular, make something. Instead of like, let's think about this. Like, why would someone want another pair of monochromatic shoes? Like, why would you want that? And like, we were talking about that J Hound, the 990 V4s, those are so lazy. Like, they're just, but yet, some hype beast, because they see the resale values on those, are gonna buy them. Like, I don't get it. Like, it's not what I want it to be at all. And like, I know you've got people back on the Saucony hype bandwagon. I believe you and a few other have got that thing going again. Those in burgers, like, that was another shoe that just captured my imagination. And I've gotten rid of all my Saucony except one pair, and it's that pair. Yeah. When you pull that pair out, that shoe is beautiful. Like, you're just like, oh, I get it. And I even used the purple laces, because you're like, onions. Yeah. And I don't even like onions. Like, that's a great shoe, and I don't give it enough wear, but I don't think I'm ever gonna let go of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know, there is like a lack of connection that I feel with a lot of the new shoes that are dropping. And like you, I'm about collaborations. I love collaborations. It's kind of what drew me in, because you get that feeling of being special. You get a product that's sort of not your everyday average shoe that you're going to see out on the street, right? And so um I think for me, like I was like with the Saucony pair, the new shadows that dropped, like, or that are going to drop. I'm a big shadow fan. I followed, the shadows for a while. They made a bunch of retools to that model over the past year or so. And so like it's cool to me to see the progression in the shoe and how it's gone from like really cheap materials, poor construction, to much better construction, then much better materials, and now it's all coming together. And then we get this shoe that's not a collaboration, but it recalls all those old food, collaborations that they've done, from the burgers to the avocado toast, you know the ramen. I forget who did that. I think that was them too. But like, it's all the original materials from those collaborations, and then they put it all into this new Shadow 6000 and made like a what the, which is cool. Like that's a cool way to do something. And so like I was looking at it and someone was like, "Oh, a what the? That's lazy." And then I look and Nike has those like Presto what does, and they're like on sale for like $75, and everyone's going crazy over them. And I'm like, but what is it? Like it's not they just threw mismatched parts at it. They didn't like say, oh, these are pieces from all our old Presto collaborations. This is, an aspect of Virgil's Presto, an aspect of acronyms Presto, and we're like combining them to give you like this nostalgic piece that you can relate back to. It's just, no, we have all these leftover pieces, or we're just putting together this shoe that sort of plays on this theme. No direction, no thought, just that to me is lazy, right? Like that is real lazy. Like Saucony has a history of making food-based collaborations and putting food inspiration into their shoes. And it only makes sense to look back and see that thematically play out on a shoe now. And so that thoughtfulness, that artfulness is something that like I feel like, so like with that Saucony shoe, that's a GR, right? The Saucony's making it. It's not a collaboration. No one's name is stamped on it other than the brand. That's better than some of the collaborations that we've seen, right? And so like I'm like, well, should I really be pursuing collaborations if I'm getting such good GRs? I'm getting a good GR. It's got a cool story behind it. It's thoughtful. It's going to be sort of exclusive. I mean, what am I really fighting? I'm not chasing clout. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. I just want to wear something that's cool that no one else is going to really have. And that also is going to like be a cool conversation piece. Right. And so for me, that's all it needs to be. And why am I getting it? What am I going to get out of a Travis Scott that I'm not going to get out of this shoe? Nothing, other than me reselling it or being in a certain circle that goes, ooh, how'd you get those? But I'm never in that situation, right? Like, other than being on social media, I'm not in that situation.
I think though the part about the GR that is the number, right? And like how many are available. And like you hipping me to the Mallards, for example, the collaboration with Concepts, the 998, which I now own. Thank you, sir. Like there's only what 75 of those or something, 100 of those. Like I almost feel like in a GR, and don't get me wrong about New Balance, and they do gray better than anyone, they do pink better than anyone. I'm starting to think they do navy better than anyone. They're so readily available that it almost makes it in this culture of look at me, like people don't go after those. And give New Balance is a little bit different because we're all, we all have so many pairs of gray New Balances. but I don't think people are chasing them because they're so readily available. And then you have something like, I don't know if you've seen that new Jaden Smith, that 574, the what are they calling it when they take the scraps of the shoes and they make a
Oh yeah, yeah,
responsibly made or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
That's an ugly shoe. Like if you could have done that and it actually looked like a normal 574, like I would be all on board for
Is
it.
that the multicolor one?
Yeah, like because they're just
And
taking
it
scraps
looks like
off the floor.
they just didn't show all the pieces on, so the pieces are kind of hanging off.
Yeah, like I'm not wearing that, man. Like, why couldn't you just built like a normal 574? Like, but again, it goes back to this kind of instant gratification, uh, IG, like look at me mentality. You know, I'm always surprised, like when you look at your Instagram postings, like which ones people like. And it's not lost on me that unless it's like some, something that total, sneakerheads would respect, a lot of times people like the hype, right? And I couldn't tell you what half of these people did before they were given the opportunity to create these particular colorways. But I almost feel like with a collab that limited, like you were talking about, like what we used to feel, like walking somewhere in the world and someone would be like, where did you get that? You had to explain that you can't even find that. And I got this reputation of turning and burning a lot of my shoes, but I don't get to touch any of these until until I get them shipped to me from whomever. And so I almost feel like the collab is like the emission, if that makes any sense. Like it's like the cost of emission, and then you start realizing, and for me the real turn, Dave, is the quality. I haven't felt good about, especially with Kith. Like, and we've had that discussion before with
992.
Justin and the Kith love. Like every Kith pair that I get, besides those 997 United Arrows, like they're garbage. And I don't know if it's that they're rushing it or, I
Yeah,
bought the 990 V2, the whatever the shades of blue that one is, the Carolina blue with the dark navies and stuff. And then
yeah.
I compared it to my GR 990 V2 navy, and the quality is just better. Like it doesn't feel like they just slapped something together and called it Kith and let's see how quick we can get it out there. And yeah, we talked about the lack of quality in the Christmas drop with Kith with the 992s. Like they're not good. Like I almost feel like every Kith thing that I have, I've turned right back around after I looked at the lack of quality and turned right back around and sold it. And I'm wondering, is it unique to Kith? Because when I get, like I just picked up that Joe Fresh Good No Emotions 992. I like it. Like the quality of it is what I thought it would be. I know everyone hates it because of the NB1 status of it, and I understand that, but like I don't feel like I do when I get a pair of Kith in my hands, and there's always something about it that I'm disappointed in with the Kith. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
does he get like lesser materials and they're just you know they're pulling a trick on him? Like I don't understand.
I think personally that they have like a two-tier system at Kith, which is the Kith exclusive products and then the actual collaborations. And so I feel like he takes on a lot of stuff from New Balance that might be stuff that was GR, but they didn't have enough materials to make it like a wired enough release. So they give it to him as like a Kith exclusive or a Kith branded product or something, and he releases it. And so that might be a reason why there's some subpar stuff going on. Because I have the 997S from the United Arrows, and that was a great pair, right?
Mhm.
Like it feels quality, like it's like right there with my S Rock, a little bit less quality. I like the S Rock personally a little bit more, But ultimately, like, I feel like that was focused. It was Ronnie saying, okay, here's what I want to make. Here's the materials I want to use. Here are the details that I want. And then making it. But then, like, some of the stuff, like the 990 V3 that we've gotten recently, because there's two colors of that. And one of them was kind of like, the gray one was just like, I'm going to put it on the shelf. And if anybody notices, they notice, right? And then, the blue one, and then of course the V2s he did, then even, sort of the 998s that kind of came out but didn't, like there's been a lot of stuff that's come through Kith that's been sort of like exclusive that has been Kith sort of branded, but not really. And so I don't know if it's just them trying to get rid of stuff, extra material, extra product that they just don't have, enough of to spread around. So I don't know. I don't know what that is. I feel like he hasn't gone into a lot of the New Balance product. Like, hey, I really want to make this. Here's my idea, and then they formulate it. I feel like it's just been like, hey, we have this. Do you want it to be exclusive to Kith? And he's like, sure, I can pair it with whatever and drop it, and it'll go quickly.
It does. And Justin will have all of it. And which leads me to, I was thinking about, like, you had sent some questions and about like who's been killing it, who hasn't been killing it. To me, again, the lackluster is just definitely Kith for me, and what you're saying there makes complete sense, because I almost feel like it's a few steps or a wider release than, say, a Concepts with say the Mallards, for example, which in essence are an NV1. So it's wider than that, but yet it's not a GR. And so yeah, maybe it is that they're lacking materials. But who's been killing it is what, June Sanders and the DTLR. Like those those back-to-back 992 collabs, they don't feel lazy. The quality of, like, I didn't get this last one that dropped.
The last one, yeah.
Because I've just been kind of lazy, to be honest. Raising two kids, I've been kind of lazy with my collections lately. But he killed it with that the DC celebration pair. And then he turned right back around and did that, was it Varsity? It looks like a what do you call it? Yeah, it's called Varsity. 992
the Varsity jacket.
Yeah, it looks like a Varsity jacket. Only reason I didn't go after it was because I got too many gray. I got too many gray pairs, and
That's the problem. That was literally the problem with those, is because I was like, well, I could just put a yellow lace in my gray ones, and it's not gonna make a noticeable difference to me. I'm not like, ooh, this one is so much better than that one, right? Like, so I get it, but it was a cool shoe. If I didn't have gray,
oh yeah, and he sees it, like that June Sanders, like he sees how stuff kind of goes together, like how the colors go together. And even that, what almost got me to jump off sides was the American flag on the tongue. Did you see that?
Oh yeah.
That got me a little bit more interested, but not for whatever number they want. And still a resale on them is not that bad, but it's too, like, I've been talking about, I'm trying to thin the gray herd. I'm trying to thin, like, why do I have all these colorways that are the same shoe? Like I saw, I think it was you that showed the 990 V3 version 2s. So what? Like I already have that shoe. Like
I don't. To be fair, I don't. That's why I got it. Like, I will say I totally understand. I totally understand what you're feeling. That's why I got rid of a lot of my 992s, was because I was like, okay, I got 6 pairs. I don't need 6 pairs of these. The blue I can validate. The multicolor is probably like the wild one of the bunch. You need the gray, and then the tan is sort of like that very subtle. I can wear it a little bit more low key than the other 3, right? And it's cool, and it's something a little bit different because not everyone has the tan. Like, there's a lot of grays out there, but no one has the tan, right? So that was my justification. I was thinking, so one of the things that I've been thinking when I go after stuff now is how likely am I going, how likely is it that I will see this on a resale site in the future? And for me, I think a lot of products, a lot of shoes, especially that are GRs, I will never be able to find. And it's the collabs. The collabs will be up there. Like, the Bodega 990 V3s. I really liked them. A lot of people got them for their size or retail. My size is still really high. It's like 320 or whatever. I'm not paying that. So, like, I look and I'm like, it's always there. There's always a size 13. There's like 30 available on StockX. There's like 30 available on Go. If I want that shoe, I can go get it. A shoe that I can't find is I got these, right? So I got these beginning of the year because I passed on them when they first came out. And this is the 1500 anniversary colorway. And it's sort of a CL, but not really. And so you go on resale sites, you can't find them. Like, it's not there. It's a GR. They probably made, half as many pairs as they did, or not even. They probably made 2,000 pairs of these. And so to me, in my mind, in a couple years, it's going to be cooler to have this than it will be to have that 990 V3 from Bodega, because there's more of those circulating. They're going to be available, And so, like, I think about that and, and in my pursuits now, and I go and I look on resale sites and I go, is this going to be up there? Are people going to try to resell this? Is this going to be something that's widely available? And most of the GRs, like, you got to think, Richie, New Balance 365, he was, he's in our group chat and he was kind of telling us maybe a couple of years ago how low like the GR numbers used to be, or how low they've been generally from New Balance, 800 pairs there, 1,000 pairs here, because they weren't selling like that. But now you got to think, like, Bodega does a collaboration, Jill Fresh does a collaboration. They're making 75,000 pairs. They're making 100,000 pairs. That's astronomical. So when they put out a GR like this, or, the SDS pair like this, we're still only getting 1,500 pairs, 1,200 pairs. They're not everywhere. They're in a lot of places, but people aren't looking for them. They're not buying them. And so the rarity of the GRs is actually outpacing the rarity, of these collaborations. And for me, if that's what I'm about wearing something that no one else is really going to wear and wearing something that's cool, that's going to stand out. I'm going to go for that. And I know you're at a school, I'm at a school. I can't tell you how much I've seen stuff that I see on StockX, or stuff that I see like on Highsnobiety, or, complex sneakers or whatever, in regular rotation, on people's feet at the school. And they don't think, they're not sneakerheads. They're not into it. They bought it for, oh, this is the cool thing at the moment. I bought it and now I'm wearing it. How many people that show up in my office with like Yeezys on? And I'm like, okay, like, and I know people that are like all about Yeezys that are sneaker people. And I'm like, yeah, but it's cool, but it's very mainstream to me. I'm not in that lane, right? I want to stand out, and I want something that I purchased to stand out, or something that, I pursued to stand out, and I want it to stand the test of time. And so, like, it seems to me that a lot of the GR products, since they are being produced at such low numbers, because people aren't going after them and they're kind of still sitting, like, I think New Balance has a popularity that, sort of has ballooned, but it's not ballooned necessarily for GR made in the USA or made in England, products, or not all of them, right? So that stuff is kind of still sitting in some places in certain ways. So, I'd rather have that than go after the collaboration stuff and feel like oh, I'm one of 75,000 again, you know?
I think people, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I think people are trying to be so different that they became the same. And you bringing up, say, like the Joe Freshgood, obviously that V3 release, there's going to be more of them. And it's not lost on me, and it's something I was thinking about leading up to this, that early drop, because to compare back to the 992, there's only 800 of the 992, right?
Yeah.
And he said that's all I've asked. To his credit, he answers questions. When you ask him questions, he'll take a tough question from you. He did it right, I think, for his community on the V3, and I'm talking about Chicago. Like, I think he released a small batch with the idea that it would be exclusive and people knew that only Chicago was getting them. So it drove the resale up. And so he helped make his community some money. And then, I'm about to do, like, who knew that there was going to be a bigger drop behind it? Like, I hadn't heard anything like that. Like, I didn't go after the shoe because I knew it was only being released in Chicago. And then I figured it would be, I didn't think it'd be the same as the 992, but I didn't think it'd be that far off because he likes that kind of element of, the exclusivity that you're talking about. But I almost think that a lot of these hyped brands that they're riding the wave on, whether it's W Taps or whatever, like, they know that they can get these kids that like these certain brands or the concepts of these, not concepts, but the concept of these particular brands and colorways and aesthetics. Like, because even if you look at like IG, there's certain people that have aesthetics. Like, I know I know what their vibe is. Like, I know what they're angling towards. And even there's certain brands that are starting to develop off of colorways, which I find kind of interesting. And like, even looking at some of these collabs, like, certain brands colorways, which is kind of interesting to me. And then it kind of throws you off, like, when they don't use that particular colorway because they're associated with this particular, like ALD. Like, I knew when I bought the ALD 550, when they tried to make it up to us for those 1300s. By the way, I sold them. When they tried to make us up with that 550, like, I knew that colorway was going to sell because that's the ALD colorway, the yellow, blue, white colorway. I sold that pair too. I made like triple my money off of them. Like, that's them. And so I almost feel like, back to your original point, like, I feel like we're trying so hard to be different that we became the same, but the difference was the Yeezys. Because, like, looking at some of these, and I picked up the other day the Wave Runner. I know that blew people's minds. I think you commented, like, who are you? Like, after that, I picked up the 700 Wave Runners. It's just something, like, I'm so bored with New Balance right now, to be real, like, because there's so much crap out there and all of this collaboration or GR, there's just too much being released that I started looking at some of the things I was interested in acquiring before. And I just, like with the Yeezy that I picked up, like, that's a pretty iconic shoe to me. Like, I don't really care who has it or not, but you hit the nail on the head. I ended up walking down the hallway the other day and I saw two kids with that shoe on. Now, I can't tell you they're real or not. Like, that's a different story. But like, I was like, wow. Then in my own head, like, it's not that special anymore, because how many of my kids walk up to me and ask me about, they know I'm New Balance heavy, but they asked a lot more when I wear Jordans all the time. They asked a lot more when I pull out my AM1s, like, maybe because they know about it. And I don't think the uniqueness that you search for, I don't think that most people want that. I think a lot of people want to fit in. I mean, it's like a gang mentality. It's why gangs exist, because people want to fit in. And so, as unique as you want to be, a lot of the themes start to be the exact same things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think I mean, I think it's weird to me because I I got to this weird, I'm in this weird space where like nothing turns me off more than seeing someone wear a shoe. Like, like I don't care what, I don't necessarily care what other people wear. I know what I would wear and I know what I would like. And I just don't want to see I want other people to appreciate it, but I don't want to see too many other people wear it, or else I feel like I lose that appreciation for it. And so it's been like that with New Balance on certain products, which is why I have like really like leaned on back on Saucony and Asics, and like I bought these, and most people that were claiming to be, or that claim to be Asics people, from like a few years ago, were like, and I'm like, no, but I'm an Asics person and I really like these and they're cool. And I don't care. Like, I don't care what everybody else is wearing. I don't care that like nobody else is like posting these or like, talking about how cool they are. To me, it's a cool concept. It's made from recycled materials, like, since that's the way of, and it gave me something really cool and thoughtful, like in terms of like a silhouette and putting the pieces together. And I'm like, no one tries to do that anymore. It's like someone told you that this was hot, or you saw that this was hot, or that this brand is hot. And so you're going to pursue that. And I mean, it seems kind of like artificial in terms of like sneakers and the whole mentality behind the pursuit of them. I do think that DTLR has been killing it though. And I did want to touch on that because they are low key like one of the best New Balance collaborators, I think, in the past like 5 years. That pack that they did, what was it? The one with the 997S and the 997 with like the multicolored tongue, and was it a multicolored N? It was like yellow. It had like yellow laces. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Vaguely. I was actually thinking about when you started those. I see those 997S's. You have those shark ones that are up there. That made me, when you started going there, that's what I started thinking about.
No, they did a 99. They did that pack of 997S and a 997. And I think that was the last 997 collaboration that I think we've seen in a while. And I just thought that was such a good, and it was gone. It was like right at the peak of New Balance hype, and they were just gone, like when they dropped.
I know what you're talking about now. You're talking about the Greek god ones.
Yeah, yep. Those are amazing. And I thought like, when I saw those, I was like, man, they might have something. And then it's just been banger after banger from them. And I think because of their proximity to like the DMV and like having that sort of New Balance thread just running through that area, they're able to sort of, really create some stuff that really resonates with the community, with their community, and also within the New Balance community. And I noticed that a lot of their collaborations, they take a play off of sort of like a GR colorway, right? It's not like, hey, I'm gonna do this like wild thing. It's like, hey, I'm gonna take this gray New Balance and I'm gonna change this element, and this element, and really make it our own, and play to the basics that New Balance sort of pushes. And I think that's really cool. I think that a lot of the brands, or a lot of the boutiques that are trying to collaborate with New Balance, aren't able to do that. And I think they're just kind of like throwing colorways at stuff and like trying to be, trying to be bold or too subtle.
And I think hitting on that though, like you talk about using the basic colorways, there's a relatability that goes along with that too, though, that creates instant buy-in. So if you're looking at, say, the DC colorway, well, the foundation of that is gray, and that's everyone's favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to DJ Clark Kent the other day on a podcast, and he said that you're really aiming at 5 colors per shoe, which I never considered until I really started looking at shoes now. And so they take that base colorway and then they add to that, and then it creates that relatability. And that new varsity colorway, it's a gray base with blue, yellow, red highlights. That it's done really well. But again, I almost think the connection that you have is that traditional New Balance connection compared to what you just said, that like it's not crazy. It's not over the top. Like there's, looking at that pair of 997S shoe palaces that you have back there, which I'm surprised you have those for the record. Those great whites that you have up there on the shelf, like that's not the norm. I mean, and you took a crazy colorway and then you did something that often doesn't get done, like those shark teeth. I was thinking about a colorway that I posted the other day. It's those home plate, the 997 home plates. Like, why don't they do that shoe more often? Like the color changing sole, the 3-color changing, like that's a very rare thing for them. And they just did a 992 that the other day in a like a rainbow. It's just not something you see a lot. Like I don't want that rainbow one, but I do the 997, like almost, I think ombre they call it in the hair world. I love how it just changes throughout, but you don't see that a lot. They often just do that generic, or they do their loud, like, again, I almost think that it's just like, how fast can we get this done? Like I wonder, you were talking about, and I actually had I think of that pack, you were talking about, I think the Medusa one. Hey, it is from that Greek Gods pack. I actually had the 997 of that, but then again, like I really liked what they did with the reflective hits of it, but then it looked just like all the other grays to me. And so I sold them. My boy Maine picked them up for me because it is a rare shoe, and it was hard to find. And I found a guy that he bought them for his son, and his son didn't like them. I guess he was probably in the DC area and just picked up a pair, and he didn't like them. I liked them, but they were just gray, and they looked very similar to the latest, that J. Crew 997, the 10-year, the ones with the X's on them. They looked just like that, except the tongue was like a fluorescent, like purple, or almost like the Mallards, like they did with the Mallard. Some of those hits that are through the Mallard. Was that the 3M?
The rainbow, the multicolored 3M. And that's what I liked about them. I like that hits. I also don't have a 997 gray, which I have the grade A pair, but I don't count them because they don't have an N on them. So I feel like I'm still down a pair of gray 997s.
I actually sold my just gray 997s because I was sitting there looking and I have too many grays. So I think I sold them to Gas Souls. Like he and I have been hooking each other up back and forth. I just have too many grays. And so it's like, why have a 997 when I have a 990 and a 992 and a 9999?
I was on this pursuit of like all grays, and I don't know if I will continue, but I feel like you hit this mark where you have all the gray colorways, and then you sort of fade back and go, okay, these are the ones that I really, really like. Now that I have them all, here are the ones I actually wear and actually like. But I haven't really hit that point yet. I do have a lot of gray though. I was gonna also talk about J. Crew and Todd Snyder, because I feel like I'm kind of disappointed like Todd Snyder dropped that 327 or that trio of 327s. And that kind of felt again, like I love Todd Snyder, right? Like I'm a big Todd Snyder fan, but that kind of felt like what you were saying with the Kith, where it just felt like, oh, well, we have these three colorways laying around. We're not going to do anything with them. And then he kind of released them under his moniker. I feel like he had a little bit more to do with it, but it just felt like it was untimely. I think he did do a lot more sort of thematically with those 327s than I ever felt like Casablanca did with theirs or anybody else did with theirs, really. But it still kind of felt lackluster. And then J. Crew, I feel like they did the anniversary 997 and then nothing, right? Like they've kind of like fallen off the wagon. They have some, it seems like exclusive 2002R colorways right now on their site. But other than that, like, are they really trying to push me on 997Hs? Like, I'm just not with it.
I don't think anyone's filling that. I think with that particular brand, I think they're having a problem staying like afloat as a company.
Oh, just
So,
holistically, yeah.
yeah, holistically. So I'm wondering if that's playing into maybe they just don't have people who are designing at this moment or looking at, collaboration. Maybe they don't have a collaboration department or somebody over there that has it going on, but they really haven't done anything since the 10, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then the Todd Snyder, I mean, that 327, when I found out that he was doing a 327, like I was instantly disappointed because I knew how awful it'd be. Like the colorways, okay, whatever. But yeah, it just seemed very forced, especially after we bought that, that Christmas hit of the 997. Like it was so amazing. Like the quality of those were so great. And then you got that. And you're just like, this is a money grab.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of felt, I don't know, it kind of felt like he got tossed something. And I know that New Balance, well, I don't want to say force people to take certain things, but like I know the Concepts 5740, the heading home pair, that, I know Concepts probably didn't want to do it. And I know that New Balance was like, hey, we're trying to get people excited about this new, silhouette. Can you guys do something for us and help us out? Right. And so that's why they did it. But with Todd Snyder, it just felt like really untimely. I was kind of like, we're past that wave. Like 327s are sitting. You know what I mean? Like, I love Todd Snyder, but he's not the guy that's going to resurrect them. You got to get Travis Scott to wear a pair, and then they'll be gone again. Like it's a totally different. He's a totally different market than I think. And I think people that are looking for quality are just not into that. And I think that's another thing that I think we've touched on in the past is like New Balance shifting to this made in Asia model, very heavy on the made in Asia products. And I mean, it's cool. Like the 2002R is cool, but I don't need any more. Like I don't need any more. I don't need any 5740s. I'm done. Concepts got me in the gate and that was it. But other than that, like I'm good with those. There's really nothing made in Asia that they make that I'm really into, like 550s, I'm good. Those 650s from ALD coming in the spring, I'm really good on those. I really just want the 998 and 997 to come back, to be completely honest.
Yeah, and I think what we described before, them opening up that 327, what's the other one, 520 or whatever it was, that was garbage. And then you talking about the 5740s, like I think they're trying to open it up to a population who would be open to that and somebody that would be willing to buy that. And if you can get, if you're allowed like Dion and his crew to do what they want, let's say like a 998 or whatever they choose to, whatever direction they go in. But you got to sell this crap. And this crap it's selling it to an uneducated, Travis Scott loving population who just might wear it. And have you seen, some of these, like now they've gone back to like splash paint and all this stuff, the glitter on them. Like, and I'm just like, what are y'all doing? Like, what are y'all, like, who? You're not selling that to me. Like, in one of them, like I think the advertisement was that like they dropped like you're a dad at a barbecue and dripped sauce on your shoes. Man, you should have your ass kicked. Like, I'm not wearing those to a barbecue, but that's just not going to be like who. I get it, I'm a dad, but even like you, like I'm very conscientious about what shoes I wear. And if I know, like, if it's gonna rain, like today it's gonna rain, I'm not wearing any of my suede joints. I don't care what I have sprayed on them. But then I damn sure ain't wearing like something that I care about to picnic where I could drop some yellow mustard. Actually, I commented to my wife because my wife saw the Joe Fresh goods, and I was like, "Yeah, babe, I'm crazy as I'm gonna wear these things." And she was like, she said something about like going to dinner or something with her mom, and I was like, no, I'm not wearing them there. Because like a waiter will drop some tea or something, and I'm like, nah, nowhere where there's food or grass or water. Like I'm not wearing. No, if we're going to the mall and we're not stopping to get some food, then okay, cool. But if otherwise, like I'm kind of weird like that. I'm not going to be anywhere where I'm dropping ketchup on them. These aren't the J. Crew ketchup joints. These are like, they're made to look like look it up. It's like a white 5.7, the 5740. It's a white pair and it has like splat on it. So I'm thinking maybe they're Jackson Pollock fans or something, whoever created this shoe. No, it's designed for the dad who spilled mustard on his white shoes.
No, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Yeah, I'm
But
not dealing with
if you're
that.
getting that dumb consumer, which most people are, and I think I brought this up before, but like, when I see a kid wearing a Michael Jordan jersey, like I ask the question, like, who is that? Tell me something about them. At the same time, like a band t-shirt, since that's so popular now, or all these idiots wearing NASCAR shirts. Like, come on, man, that's such a white trash festival and you're promoting it. Like, I'm confused. This is the same place that has all these racial tensions and whatnot, and you're wearing it as part of your culture. Like, really? Do you know who Richard Petty is? Like, come on, man. I don't know who they're selling it to. Like, I try not to bash on Harrison Neville, but man, dude, God, like, where does this come from? Like, what world am I in?
Yeah, it's just this is old, this is cool, I'm gonna wear it, and not like a thought of like, what does this say about who I am and what I focus on and what I value, right? And so there is that sort of disconnect. And so, I think when you have kids, when you hit when you do hit the dad level, you're kind of thinking that, because I think, I'm always like, oh, what do I want parents at the school to see me wearing when I go pick up my daughter or go drop her off? Because it means a lot. It means a lot to me that like I don't look like the irresponsible parent, but I also don't look like the parent that is only solely focused on the school and being, I want it to be like, this is a dad that has it together. He's thinking about multiple different things, and he's also here, with his daughter, and he's thinking about her and thinking about, and my wife gets on me because I buy my daughter like, I'm not crazy, but I buy like 2 or 3 pairs a year. I try to, because she just destroys stuff, but I always feel bad if I show up looking good and I am always in like a clean pair of shoes and she shows up with like these destroyed shoes every time. It's kind of like, well, I don't care about my kid, but I do. I want her to like have the things that I have as well, but I also know, there's a level of like, oh, she's going to destroy it. So I have to sort of hold back a little bit, right? And let her just destroy stuff. And then she kind of learns to appreciate it more because it's not always readily available. But I mean, I think there's this tension that is developing in the market where I'm just trying to buy stuff that's cool that no one else is thinking about. And um I think about collaborations and I'm like kind of like, all right, what are you doing for my money? Like, you want my money, like, let's go, like sell me. What's your pitch? You know what I mean? Like, it's bad enough I have to like half the time like, prep 2 or 3 weeks in advance, figure it out, like some sort of connect or, work around the raffles and all of this stuff. But if I'm going to do all of that, like, you got to have a good story. Like, I want to, I'm here to buy Cirque du Soleil. I'm not here to buy the mall carnival, right? Like, the mall carnival is going to be here next week again. It's going to be in the next town the week after that. Like, I can go that anytime. I want Cirque du Soleil. And so I think a lot of brands have been like really just kind of giving us the little mall carnival, like, and I'm not with it. Like, I'm just like, nah, I'm not going to participate in that.
I think that's why you have to, for me, that's why I'm really slowing down, like in my purchases. And it might not feel like, for spectators, but man, I bought like 2 pairs of shoes in the last probably 6 weeks. Um, I'm just not as interested, and it's not. I'm not. It's not that I'm not interested in shoes because it is part of who I am. I'm just not interested in some of the things that you've said, like in the sense of chasing someone else's like interests. I'm not really interested in like, I don't know, being a part of something that doesn't give back. Like just being involved in this chase of goods that like it doesn't, I don't know. I'm there's too much. And maybe what made New Balance originally for me, like besides obviously fit and quality, is that there wasn't a lot of it out there. And maybe searching the resale markets, the eBays, the StockX, and finding, talking to certain people and learning about, the background and the history and all those things. And now that, that the New Balance owners have probably got paid lately during during COVID, it's just kind of like it's not special anymore. It's just another thing. And I don't think a friend of mine keeps telling me that I'm going to stop collecting shoes. Like I don't think that that's accurate. I just don't think I'm interested in the everyday feeling, like every day something's dropping, like every day I have to chase something. Like I need balance in my life, and something that's supposed to bring me joy shouldn't bring me anxiety. And the overpay of everything, like everything is expensive, everything. This is a byproduct of people sitting around and having time on their hands because they're not working like they used to, or they're not stuck in traffic, or whatever the deal is. Like I'm just right now, I'm not on a hiatus or anything, but I'm definitely slow down. I've slowed way down.
Is it too much? I know James Barsanis from Texas has said this before, that there's just too much. There's just too many releases, too many drops, and like you just can't keep up. And not that you can't keep up, but like you just don't have time to be excited about anything. Because if you're excited about something, you've either missed it or the next thing is coming.
I think that's a lot of it now. Like you don't have time to think about it because it's probably not even going to reach your feet. It's going to just go. You're going to look at it like you got a new baseball card and you're going to put it away. And then you're going to try to find an opportunity to wear it. But it's just like you're getting hit And unfortunately, for me, like I do pay attention to like what you all wear. And, like I've commented before with you that like you give me inspiration because you made me look at it differently, right? But if there's so much of it, then I'm not really even paying attention anymore. Like it's not that I don't care about like, what so and so is wearing or what somebody thinks it's cool. It's just there's too much. And I just don't, I'm having to take a step back. And it reminds me of when I came back after college and I get back into the game, and then I was overwhelmed because, you remember going to say Foot Locker and that pair of Jordans sitting on the shelf for X amount of time. You remember, an Air Max or whatever it was, and it was only in a very specific colorway. And, a lot of these retros, and I do love Nike for this. A lot of these retros are bringing back the nostalgia of you walking through the mall and actually being able to cop something, right? So then you get back in it and you're like, okay, what do I want to wear? Well, then you start reliving your childhood and the stuff that your mom wouldn't buy you, or for whatever reason you didn't get, the Andre Agassi's, the Charles Barkley's, the Bo Jacksons, all that. And then you realize they're shit. And you're like, no, I don't want to wear those. And so, all right. So you as an adult start making adult decisions. So you start going towards better materials. You see collaborations and you see the better materials like the burgers from End. And you really start to chase that particular direction. But now it's like every week. And the other day I remember thinking about the W Taps dropping, and like 2 or 3 things dropped at the same time. It's just, then I didn't go after any of it. Like I just don't care. Like I am interested in the Joe Freshgood, the 990 that's going to drop on Friday, but I can't tell you that I'm going to stop life to make it happen.
Yeah.
And I might just, some people that I know that are in the world that have probably put in or like 10 or 11 or 20 raffles and they wear my same size. I know they'll hook me up when they hit it. So like, maybe I'll just let them do it and I'll just wait to see what happens. I'm just at a weird point with sneakers right now, and it is losing because there's so much of it, but then it's so expensive if you don't catch the initial retail drop.
But I mean, I think for me too, what I think about is like we're this. I think we're the same age, but I'm old, and I don't have a lot of time and energy to waste on certain things. And so, like, I feel like I could put in a lot of energy to get certain shoes, but I don't want to do it because I feel like after I get it, I won't have any time to appreciate it. And I feel like the effort that I put in wouldn't have amounted to the actual level of desire that I have for the shoe. And I feel like I've done that before. And it almost is more anxiety on the back end because I'm like, I wasted my time, I wasted my energy for this. And I don't feel that fulfilled, right? And so I think there are shoes that like, I get really excited about and I'm able to get, and I get them and I feel fulfilled. Like the MTA 920, that was one of them. It was like a super easy, super quick pickup, but I was anticipating it for a long time, for a while. You get excited about it like the week before, and then you're like looking for pictures, you find more pictures, you see all the details, and then you get it. And it wasn't a hassle. I didn't have to, fight anybody. I didn't have to, chase anything down. I didn't have to pay resale. I didn't have to do all this crazy stuff. And so it felt worthwhile to me. And I love that shoe now. But if I had to go through all this stuff where I spent time trying to cajole someone into entering a raffle for me, and, I, do all this other stuff, all this other, time wasting at night when I could be, doing something with my wife or playing with my daughter or doing something like that. Like, and then in the end, I get it. I kind of feel a little bit let down, or kind of feel like, what kind of person am I that I wasted all of this time trying to chase this thing down? But then resale is not worth it. You know, I think a few years ago, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, I would be like, okay, $20 over, $50 over, that makes sense. That's reasonable. For my time, yes. And now it's like, everything is 200%, 150%. And it's like, no, it's not worth it to me, you know? So there's really just no sort of happy middle unless you really get lucky and hit on a raffle, or something kind of sits, or you're able to sort of snag it off of, you're just quick enough on the draw to get it on initial release. But those scenarios are like rare and few and far between. So it's really hard to get excited about anything.
Yeah, and I mean, for all the reasons that we've spoken to there, and it kind of, it's such a rare occasion for you to get that high. And I think we've spoke of the sneaker apps before. Like, you used to be able to hit on that. And I've heard people speak to what the flaw is. Well, now there's more damn people. Like, now there's more people like going after the same shoes that you were going after. And I've never been a big Nike, I'm Jordan, early Jordan stuff, but I've never really been this huge Nike fan. I have to have Nike, Nike, Nike. But now there's so many more people in the pool going after the things that you care about. And, I have the means to buy the things that I want, but I don't want to. Like, and there is something cool about being able to cop this story at a reasonable price, this retail price. But now I'm being hit with all of these artificial stories, and I can't get it at a reasonable price. And then when I do get it, I'm let down because the quality is suspect. Even those MTAs you have, look at the stitching on the back of that. Like, I have that pair of shoes. I like the 920. I'm one of like 6 people who like the 920. And so I got it, and then I was just kind of like, oh, okay. Like, it felt very kith to me, like, in the sense of like it was rushed through. And I mean, just look at the stitching of the MTA on the back of them. And I'm not trying to kill your sunshine there, but I'm just saying that, like, I got it and I was just kind of like, all right, cool. And I don't think I've ever wore, like, yeah, I think I wore that pair once maybe. And again, maybe part of my vibe is the gray elements. the gray strikes again. At least they went with a blue bed. Come on, let's a foot bed in that. So, that's cool. But I think all of the above is the answer. And right now I'm finding it difficult to enjoy sneakers in general. At the same time, I'm glad I'm not interested in NFTs, like buying stuff for a lot of money that makes completely no sense to me. But I got an avatar for $600,000. Who cares? Like, who's gonna rent that from you? Like, I get, almost the NFTs for like Kobe Bryant hitting a game-winning shot that you only have exclusive rights, and you could sell it. It could be in a Sprite commercial. Totally understand that. But it's just like anything else. I do think what COVID killed is just people had a lot of free time with a lot of free money, literally and figuratively. Yeah. And they just sat around buying things, and they weren't experiencing life. And maybe, maybe I need to feel sorry for my own kids, because maybe we're heading into a world that's just virtual, and it's peacocking and grandstanding and look at me. And, I don't buy my shoes so you can see them. Like, I buy my shoes because there's a connection. I buy my shoes because it reminds me of my own history. I buy my shoes because maybe it reminds me of my own mortality. Like, I don't buy them so you can see them, but somehow I've got caught up in that BS also. Like, I've got caught up in, like, how many likes can I get? I think Kanye West, there's a line, I crowdsource my self-esteem. Like, maybe that's maybe I'm just done with it. Like in that world, like there's so many, like for my job being a high school principal, there's a period of time, as much as the higher ups don't like it, but I dress how I want to. And, in the summertime, I can go, like 3 months with just dressing the way I want. And I wear jeans and some, whatever kicks that I'm feeling that particular day. And I went so many days without posting anything. And I was just really, enjoying whatever, GR or collab or whatever it was. I was just really enjoying wearing shoes. Like that's really what it was about.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, maybe lately, and I appreciate all the people that buy my shoes from me, because now I'm pretty well known of having pretty much any New Balance that you can think of most days. And so I'm okay to let go of it and give it all back to the community where it belongs, And so I find myself, selling the Stray Rats, which that's another good, they're really good at collabs. Even that 574 was a very solid collab that they put out, those two colorways. But like, I'm okay with giving that up and giving them to people that, well, not giving them, selling them to people that, that it will enjoy them. I sold my gray ones, I think the Castles, and I'm fine with that. Like I'm cool with that. Like I guess I got to get away from the noise, and I got to figure out like what I really enjoy, and is it worth continuing to do? And as I sit there, and I guess when people think I'm done with it, then I go ahead and I buy the Joe Fresh goods 992. And you know what? I don't care. Like, I passed on it the first time because someone talked down about it and it bothered me, and it should have never bothered me. And I would have probably saved myself like $200. But I really like it. And that's what this is about, right? Like, isn't it about you as an individual and less about what everyone else is doing? So, moving forward, I think I'm trying to get smaller, because it just doesn't make sense to me anymore. So, my 200 pairs will not be a thing. I'm down to somewhere between 50 and 60, and I continue to whittle it down. Just so maybe there's been a downshift because a lot of my pairs are sitting on eBay. And usually I can get rid of a shoe like in usually like a week. But even like the 920 Oxes, the red ones, they've been setting for like a month. And I'm pretty reasonable about my pricing. Like I'm usually the lowest out there.
Yeah.
And they've just been sitting there. I don't know. But yet when I go and look at the stuff I care about, like the 998, like they're crazy prices. So I don't know anymore.
Feel like you're gonna shift brands at any point?
No. I think just like they're being too much, like that's just another problem for me. Like I tried, like I bought what was that last pretty popular Saucony, because I kind of listened to you about getting back into Saucony. And so I gave, at one point, Dave, I had probably 30 pairs, like, because I'm a Shadow fan myself. And honestly, I think it fits better than New Balance. Don't tell anybody. I think it feels better than New Balance. But like we just talked about, it was overwhelming to curate my collection because you could find so many Shadows, Shadow 6000s. Like, and I had, all of those foods that, I saw the ones you posted, the ones that we were talking about earlier, the one that are the mixed match of all their foods. I think I've had all of them, like all of them. I even had the beignet place in New Orleans. I copped those, like, and I never wore them, like, and they were cool. But I like the story, New Orleans and the beignets and all that, the sprinkled sugar and the powdered sugar. Like I thought that was amazing, but like just like that, I just felt there was just too many of it. And then how many food concept shoes can I have? And then I got into Only in Soho. Like that was one. That's a beautiful shoe. but I never wore it. Like, and so sitting there with, you know, a $1,000 pair of shoes on the shelf that I never wear, I was just like, okay. And so I just kind of lost, you know, I started thinning the herd, and I had a lot of them. Like I just, okay, I feel like I don't have the attention span. Like,
Yeah.
and you see my boy down here in Austin, down south of me in Austin, sneaker grandpa Patrick. Man, he's heavy on those Reeboks. Like, I just don't think I can do it. Even if Reebok is giving me, like they're apparently giving him, like I just don't think I can do it. Like, I don't like them that much, right? And so now you're expecting me to, you know, I don't know. So no, I don't think I'll be doing much. If anything, I'm getting smaller. Like, I think what we've kind of hit here is as we get older and we mature, like hopefully, you know, some of that behind you doesn't make as much sense as it originally did, right? And so, you know, for me, that's, you know, I turned 42 this year, this next time around. I'm 2 semesters away from being called doctor. Um, you know, there's just other things that are more important to me at the moment. And maybe that's a good thing, you know, like, you know, talking with the sneaker dads that we are, you know, and got to be on the Sneaker Dad podcast. Um, like I just think I'm maturing, and the things that I care about aren't spending the money that I once thought was okay to spend on some, you know, when I start thinking about what's really important to me. So if I can keep, you know, I don't think I'm ever going to stop collecting, wearing. I don't like being called a collector. I'm a sneakerhead. I wear my pairs. But I would like to get it down to more of a manageable number. And maybe I don't care what people think anymore, like in the sense of maybe I just don't care about like being different. But like as I heard you speak, like I totally understand what you were saying. Like I totally get wanting to stand out. Like, you know, I'm extremely tattooed. I had both of my ears pierced when I was 6 years old. You know, I've had mohawks and tails and my hair bleached. I've been Eminem. Like, I've done all of those things to be seen. And I think as I get older, I don't want to be seen anymore. Like, I don't, you know, even when I think about my tattoos, you know, once it was, I wanted somebody to ask. And as I get older, I don't, it's not even, I feel like I don't need to explain, you know? And maybe that's what's kind of, maybe this instant gratification society's kind of ruined it for me. Um, you know, because I don't, you know, and I wasn't originally on another podcast, we talked about our friend in the Midwest that has every shoe. Um, maybe I just don't need the attention. And maybe I don't want the attention anymore, you know? And
Yeah.
so, you know, I think some of this has been stolen by not being able to wear the shoes in public like we once did. And so maybe a casualty of COVID has been my shoe game, as far as someone being able to speak to me about where'd you get that or whatever. But I don't know. I think I need to find my joy.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of empathize with that a little bit. I feel like over COVID for me, I think part of me was kind of like, I got to get every pair because I was waiting for it to sort of subside and then I could wear everything, you know.
Flex on
But I wore a lot during the pandemic, so it wasn't like I didn't wear things, right? And so now that I am back to the normal like daily grind and wearing, you know, because I wear sneakers every day. I don't know. There are some things that just don't make sense. And I think it's easier for me to thin the herd when I'm in a regular rotation and know that like, okay, this thing is really not getting worn and I'm not in this space where I have this anticipation of wearing it at you know, some precise moment. that never is going to come, right? All my moments come. Like tomorrow is a moment. I'm making a choice. I'm choosing. And then, if I'm not choosing something often enough, then I get to make that go away. But I think the market's kind of telling me, or the market's making it easier, right? So, and again, but like I said, the GR stuff, bringing it full circle is really starting to be interesting to me. Like I think for a while I was ignoring the New Balance GR stuff because I thought, oh well, that's everybody. I can get the collaboration stuff. I'm gonna get the collaboration stuff because it's cool, it's thoughtful, it's giving me something. And New Balance was just giving us cool colorways when it came to GRs. But now I feel like they're giving us a little bit of something, with their GRs, and other brands are too. And I think that that's cool. And it's making me question whether collaborations are necessary in order to have something cool and special. And I kind of feel like I don't need it all the time, and I don't need to care about it.
I agree with you. Like, and maybe it's us growing up. Maybe it's we don't need it as much as we thought we did. But I almost feel like a company like New Balance is going to be a victim of its own success, like in the sense of, I can't speak for the true Boston guys, that they eat and sleep and get tattoos of New Balance. But for me, like, I just don't think I have the bandwidth. I don't have the ability to care about each thing that's happening. And then I think I think it is a perfect storm of everything costing too much, there being too much or too little of a product, and just the overall look at me vibe that you almost become that hype beast that you don't like, and and maybe it's just me getting older and the get off my lawn mentality, maybe it's just okay like that. I just, that's, and so many of these, and I can't remember, maybe it was you or someone else said, something to the effect of, like, you miss it and then you just move on. Like, you miss that drop and then, okay, I just didn't get that one. And then you move on. But then you don't even, like, I haven't even made attempts to take the loss, like, I'm not trying to reach out to anyone to be able to get a specific thing, or, I'm almost like beaten down in the sense of, like, okay, I guess I'm going to pay the resale or I'm not going to pay the resale. And lately I've just been choosing to not even attempt. Like, I don't want to, I'm pretty sure I could get XYZ now, but I don't even want to reach out to anybody and be like, hey, can you help me get this? Because I just, right now, I don't care. Like, if something pops up, and I think that's been the key for me. Like, I still have, we talk grails, we talk shoes that you're interested in. There's still things that I'm interested in, but I'm not seeking them necessarily. And I'm just waiting for them to come to me. And don't get me wrong, if Jim wants to come off of those Clark Kents, then I'm with it right now. And a few other people that I know have them. But I'm not seeking it. Like, I'm not looking actively engaged in finding it. I'm not, going on to the Japanese eBay or Yahoo marketplaces or whatever. I'm not doing that. But if it pops up, I'm interested in, like, concrete jungles. I'm always looking for the concrete jungles. And, there's the Berlins and all the other ones that I would consider a grail. And if they become available, they become available. And if I like the price, then I like the price. If I don't, I don't. And I think I'm in a space where I don't have to. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have to. I don't feel like, I mean, there were days I would buy, it's funny to me to see some of these people over time. There were days that I would buy like, 5 or 6 pairs in one day. Like, because it would, and I felt like if I didn't jump on the wave and get the things that were on my mind and they just happened to appear at the same time, then I wasn't going to have the opportunity to get them again. But now I'm just like, okay, maybe I missed the first drop. Maybe I missed the second. Maybe I missed the secondary market. Maybe I just wait for that perfect deal. And, I almost feel like I got rewarded with the Joe Freshgood 990. Like the newest drop, because I didn't even try. And then I was rewarded by saying, oh, there's a broader drop coming. Like, and you're just like, okay. And will I try on Friday? I don't know. Like, I'm not intending to. And so what does that really say about it all?
Yeah.
Like, I guess, like I said, I got some peeps out there who will take care of me if they get, they hit, everybody in their family hits. Because I've tried to do that for other people. There's been some drops out there that I've co-signed other people, like, okay, I'll buy them if that's what you want. But like, okay, so if we hit, we hit. But even like, one of our plugs, he reached out to me and he knew I wanted this particular shoe. And I tried a couple of times to get a hold of him because he's kind of hard to get a hold of at certain times. And then I just kind of forgot about it. And then I was thinking about today before, I spoke to you, because I'm thinking about all these different ideas and GRs, and it's a GR. And I haven't called back. and I'm just like, what if I did that with everything? Like, what if, oh, I gotta have this next latest greatest thing. Or maybe I don't. And maybe regardless if it's a GR or anything, and maybe it's just that everybody else wanted something at one time. And, being around, and I continue to say this, I love the community. I love being able to engage with you and others. But maybe I just don't need the, I need the conversation. I need this conversation. I need, sending you messages or whatever. But maybe I don't need the product.
Yeah. I mean, when I was on the Sneaker Dads podcast, I told John, I have enough, like, right. Like if I miss something, I have that conversation where I'm like, that's fine. I have this, which is just as good or better, right? Like I only really feel bad about missing like concepts products, really. Like that's it. Other than that, I'm kind of like, okay, I have something better than that, right? Like, and so especially, and like I said, I get turned off by people wearing stuff. There's just nothing that moves me less than knowing that there's 10 other people that have this thing that are posting about it at a certain time. Like you said, that energy from just that world. And it makes me, and I find that it makes me not want to go onto social media. Like I love having the interactions with people on social media. I hate seeing what's on social media. Like I hate talking. I hate seeing the pictures, because like I really don't care what shoe you post. It's more valuable to me if you DM me and say, hey, look at what I picked up. That is more valuable to me than me having to like your picture, right? Or comment on it or see it. Like I want that if that shoe is there to like, and people that say, hey, it's about the connection, it's about the community. Are you hitting up people to tell them like, hey, this is what I got? And I think, you and I have that relationship where it's like, hey, I got this, hey, I got that. Like I'm more excited to tell you than I am to post it. Cause I almost don't, because I really don't care about that reaction from the general public. Like I have had tried to condition myself to like not want that validation and not try to like for everything try to take a picture and put it up there. But I like the reaction from like friends and people that I deal with and people that are in the community that I interact with on a regular basis. I love having that conversation with you and other people. And that sense of community is something that like has been migrating away from posting and more in the DMs, more in like group chats, more in these Zoom conversations. And I think that is more valuable, you know, like I hear people say, oh, you know, COVID made people like value, or COVID made, you know, connecting so much easier. And I'm kind of like, yeah, but I feel like a lot of the connections were very artificial, and like Zoom is great. WhatsApp messages, great. You know, DMs, great. Even, you know, whatever comments on your post, great. But it's still, I still feel like I get more enjoyment out of wearing my shoes around people than I do about, you know, posting them or them being, you know, shared digitally. But for me, the next best thing is like that one-on-one interaction. And I don't get that when I post a shoe. I only get that when I like share it with you directly through a DM, or I'm like talking about pickups in my group chats. Like those things, you know, I kind of get, you get reactions then, and you get conversation and you're talking and people are really like engaged. And it's not necessarily a flex. It's not a flex. Then, you know, I'm not feeling like, oh, I got to share this to boost my self-esteem. It's like, you know, we're talking about themes and ideas and colorways and inspirations and things that really, you know, go deeper than a complex story, you know, and I think I keep, you know, part of the sneaker community, as everyone sort of always talks about, is that connection. And the way that people have been sharing their shoes has just become shallower and shallower, right? Where it's just, I'm posting a picture, like, and I think about like, you know, not to pick on anybody, but like some of the repost accounts that post, you know, the New Balances and stuff. And it's like, look what this person got, look what this person got. And I'm like, I kind of don't care, because I don't have any interaction with that person. I don't have any conversations with that person. I don't know what they think about. I don't know what their enthusiasm for that pair is. I I find very little value in that for me now. You know, like it used to be cool because like, you know, New Balances and Asics, you know, certain people would collect those and you kind of had conversations with everybody in the community. But now it's like people in the community aren't really in the community. They're not, you know, it's so many celebrities and influencers or whoever being reposted that like I don't talk to. And for me, I'm one of those people, if I can't talk to you, I don't really care about you in that way, right? And it's not that I can't talk I don't talk to you. It's like if I send a message to Dion, I'm gonna get a response. It might not be right away. It might be a day from now. He might just like it, but I get a response. There's an interaction there. There are some people, you send them a message, and I get it, they probably get thousands of messages, but you'll never get a response from them. And for me, that makes me feel less valued. And I don't want to feel that way. I want to have my connections mean something. I want my shoes to mean something. I want my interaction with the people that I collect shoes with to mean something. And so, you know, ultimately, I really don't post a lot of my shoes. I mean, I do once in a while, like I'll post something cool that I really like, or I feel really inspired to take a photo, I will. But ultimately, it's for me, it's about like, oh, I got to share this with the people I'm connected to. Like, if there is a community, like, there's a community and I'm talking to someone about that. Like, I'm talking to somebody about the pickup. I don't need to share a picture. You know what it looks like. We're in the same wavelength. You know what I mean? Like, you rarely send me pictures. I know what it looks like. You know, I know what it looks like. You know what I
It's
mean?
the only thing that I struggle with, and I think we're on the same page though, is that like I struggle with taking away some of the inspiration that I had found with the pictures that are of things that maybe I haven't seen before, right?
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of the old heads like Jim, like they inspire me because like I see what's possible. And it's not to see the same, repetitive, whatever, the 2002 Rs or whatever. Like to me, that's I think it's being like, and I said this to you before, like you inspiring me to buy the Todd Snyder's, right? Like if I wouldn't have seen your post, I probably wouldn't have bought them.
Mhm.
And I love that shoe, and it's not as gray as my other grays are, but it's still, it's very. I like the quality of it. I like the tan. I like the uniqueness of it. But I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't see it from you. And so what I struggle with is, like Robert hit me to the 920, the pot of 920s, like, and I know I'm one of the only ones that have that shoe and that I love that shoe. And I get so many comments about that shoe, but I would have not bought it if like there was something in my head that I was interested in, but you helped me see it maybe in a different way. And so, I definitely get, and I've expressed it to you, and I get really frustrated with the reposters, and I get frustrated because they don't try to be different, and they don't try to expose like there's other things besides this hyped collaboration. Like they don't post certain people for certain reasons, and it annoys me, and I've called them out on it. Like the dude in France, the one over here, like I don't understand. Like some of the stuff that I've like, and especially when I was real into the deep cuts of New Balances that I was putting out there in the world, and trying to inspire at the same time. Yeah, you're flexing a little bit, because I like flexing on some of you all, because look at this, I got this thing that you haven't seen or you've never,
Yeah.
and it didn't have to be like expensive. It's just like, look at this little thing that I have. And you would get no love for it. You would because it's not what, this hype person. And even, I saw, there's a new podcast out there. And I saw their first guest, and I was just like, this kid is a hype beast. Like this, it's the hype beast of New Balance. And that's your first guest. Like you didn't call on some old heads that would be, preaching to you, like some people that have been around and can tell you about all of the concepts, and like, and so maybe that's just the sign of the times.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe we're just realizing that IG is not the platform. As much as I do love the community that I feel like, I engage with on a constant basis, maybe I'm pushing back against what I know I don't like. And
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe that's just okay. Maybe it's okay that, MBs only, I'll call them out. They refuse to repost my shit. Like, I don't know why. I didn't do anything to them. And my
Yeah.
stuff is so much better than what's out there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I want to put this out there so then they will repost something cool. Not, and it really, truly, I say this, it's not look at me. It's just like, hey, have y'all seen this thing? This thing's cool. Like, put this out there. And they're
Yeah.
like, nah, it's
Yeah.
not a double taps or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I only can see that damn shoe so many times, and you're like, oh, all right, cool. Like I've already seen I feel like I've seen that V2 too many times already. It's
Yeah.
gray. I
Yeah.
get it. Like it's
I mean, I think the thing for me is like I log on and I look, and I'm always looking for something that I haven't seen before. And I think that's what you're looking for. And I want to share something that no one else has seen or that I'm not seeing, right? And I think there's this bubble where everything posted is the last 2 years. And I'm like, there is more than just the last 2 years. And there's also more than just the mainstream, you know, top reselling New Balances on StockX right now. and they're cool and they're great, and like we should flex those as much as we flex, anything new that came out. Like the refined future pack. Love the shoe, right? But when I got my pair in hand, I probably didn't go on Instagram for like 2 days. Cause I was just like, if I go on, I'm just gonna see picture after picture after picture of the shoe, and I'm not gonna like it and I'm not gonna want it anymore because I'm gonna be turned off. And I like the shoe. It's cool, it's great. I got it in the hand. It's one of the very few shoes, rare shoes that I didn't like at first. And I got over time, I was, oh man, this is a good shoe. This is great. I really like it. This is awesome shoe. And so I got it and I just couldn't post it. I just couldn't do it. I was just like, I can't post it. I'm gonna be like everybody else. Everybody's seen what it looks like. There's nothing new there's nothing new under the sun here. And I just want new experiences, right? And I think when you've been in the sneaker community for a while, you're just constantly looking for that new experience, whether it being a new shoe or an old shoe that you didn't see or you didn't experience. And then for you, that helps you reach out to someone or maybe see someone that you hadn't seen before. And when I see a celebrity with a New Balance and they've never been in a New Balance like before, I think Haley Bieber was wearing the Concepts 5740, and it was cool. It's a big moment for them, for the shop, and I'm happy that they had that. The the question for me is like, well, who am I sharing this moment with? I can't reach out to her and say, cool shoes. How do you feel about blah 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 blah? Like we can't have a rapport about it, right? So it's like it's kind of dead to me, right? Like we're not sharing the appreciation for the shoe, and I want someone to share that experience with. And so I think there's more and more of those moments where it's like I have this shoe that I like and I can't share that appreciation with it with anyone. Um and I want that. I think a while ago it used to be, oh, you have this. Oh, that's so cool. Where'd you find them? That's great. Blah, blah, blah. We talk about the shoes for a while. And people were so appreciative of that experience, that interaction. And that has kind of gone away a little bit just because there's so few and far between moments where someone has something that you haven't seen. And
And I think maybe the part of that is that it's almost like people want to shit on whatever it is that you're putting out there anyways. Like it's like you put out a post the other day of the 1530s. I've been wanting that shoe for so long, and I was like, that's cool that someone else had it, and I do appreciate it. And I'm like, I'm not gonna pay these crazy resale prices that are on that shoe. Now I remember when I should have copped that shoe for like $80, but like I just feel like, yeah, maybe that's even part of it too. That nobody appreciates like that rare thing. Like what was it, those MB1s that you put out, the Bs, like those are sick because I miss, like that's right there with the Clark Kent. Like I was like, yes, like you don't see that yellow often. And so
no.
like I appreciate you showing me those. Like I do. And I don't, as much as I hear what you're saying and I agree with you, I don't want you to stop putting the cool shit out there that isn't,
Oh no, I know.
as flavorful as they think these hyped things are. And maybe maybe it's just getting over the likes aspect of it, or getting over the comments aspect of it, or whatever. Maybe I've become part of the problem. And
Yeah.
maybe that's just part of it too. Like and so I'm so, I just want to be inspired, and I want to be, I don't necessarily want to stick out, but I do want, I want that feeling I got when I saw something that I hadn't seen before. And part of it is I just, like if you see me with like those, the other day I posted those the Jimi Hendrix inspired 997s. Like you just don't see that out there in the world. And it was Labor Day, so I had the American Bobs and I had done that lace swap, and that's the only laces I ever bought from what's that box, the FU company, whatever that's called.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, that's a cool shoe. And I wish it was mesh instead of suede on the box, on the toe box, but that's just cool. And then there are certain shoes that I have that I certain people gave me inspiration to get them, even like the like a 993 or just something that you don't see every day. And I just hope that keeps going. But at the same time, I'm not interested in this influx of material that's out there. I'm not interested in necessarily getting what everybody got, says the guy that just bought some Yeezys. But but like I want to like what I like, and I want to be more open-minded to some of these things. You asked the question earlier about like am I expanding into other brands? Probably not, but there's still going to be some shoes that I'm interested in having. At the same time, there's some shoes that now that I have them, I'm ready to get rid of them. It's just not as interesting as it once was.
Yeah.
I would argue, I know you said that you didn't pick up that Bodega V3. But that's a pretty badass shoe, just for the record. Like it just goes.
No, I know. I agree. I just, like I said, my size is 320. I'm not paying that. Like, it is what it is. Like, I think there are some good things out there, but for what it is, and I guess the pursuit of it, it's just not worth it to me. Because I like that shoe, but I'm gonna wear it. I'm definitely gonna wear it, but it's not a shoe that I can share or be excited about with other people around, because everybody has it.
But everybody, I think everybody in our community has it. Not everybody in your community has it. Not everyone in Connecticut has it. Not everyone in your neighborhood has it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah.
And I think that's something to be said also, that like you inspire others by just walking into your office, right? You inspire others by going to pick your kids up. And I'm very much like you, and like I want to stunt on them at my son's school. Like I drive a pretty large truck that has a 6-inch lift and 35-inch tires, and it says Tonka on the back of it, and it's murdered. And that was very intentional. Like I waited for my son to be like, I'm gonna have to drop you off to school. Like it's a flex on the parents that have a minivan. Like and then I jump out and I'm tattooed and I wear sneakers, and I'm still older. I'm not the old man with the earring. Like I've thought about bringing it back. I've thought about it. Like I'm right there on the verge of being the old man with the earring. But I want to show those parents what's capable, what you can be normal. Like you
can still have your passions, and you can still flex and be cool, and you don't have to dad it up. Every moment is not a dad moment. Like,
yes, like I got the dad bod. I have embraced that concept.
It counts.
But I also still want to be unique in the carpool lane. I still, I like rolling up and looking different. I like, going to, the PTA meeting and they're like, is this a biker? Like, I like that. But then I like the opposite end of it. Yeah, Dr. Biker to you is what I'm interested in. So maybe it's just expanding our audience. Maybe it's expanding, like when you're at the bar, and you're sitting there in your New Balances, but they're thinking that it's the old man New Balance, but you gotta tell them that, hey, there's actually other New Balances out there. Your dad didn't mow their lawn with it.
Yeah.
Not the 550, because that is, I swear that's what my dad mowed his lawn in. The 550. So Well, all right, dude. I gotta go. I'm at school still, so I gotta head back north.
Yeah.
But always a pleasure talking to you. If you wanna, you know, whatever, man. I'll always try to make it to chat with you because you, like I said before, you make me think about other things and push me to hopefully be just a better person. And so I appreciate that.
Ditto that, man. We gotta do this in real life eventually.